Yeah, no, I figured.
This is our second one right here. What's up, guys? Hawkins, and we have
Ezekiel
who? Duran from
Father's Deer.
Father's Deer. The best eco-friendly water from Mount Shasta, right?
Mount Shasta, California.
Tell me about this.
Well, this was
So cool.
a product my co-founder actually came up with the idea.
Pretty
and
good.
Yeah, it's a great water. Would probably be able to talk about the formation of it better than I would, but yeah, we he was really just inspired by the whole liquid death movement, and my background in water. He decided to reach out to me and wanted to bring an eco-friendly product to the market. Should I talk into the camera or to you?
We can talk wherever you want, man.
Okay, cool.
You talk to me and talk to them, it's confusing, right?
Yeah, I know.
We don't have to talk about your water right now.
Yeah,
dude.
we don't have to talk about the water.
Yeah.
Let's warm up.
Here's the YoBe, dude.
Let's try
This is
your
the new
product.
packaging right here, dude. Check it out, bro. So Ezekiel, I met through friends, and the reason he's one of the guests is because he's had successful exits in the water company, and so he's done a lot in the CPG brand, and he's been helping me. And so this is the first time for him to see the new packaging, new formulation.
Yeah, we're gonna try
it.
it.
New YoBe. No more erythritol. No one likes that stuff. Oh, it's smooth, dude.
Yeah, this one's great. This is the only one I haven't tried.
Because like carbonated chocolate?
No, I usually buy those because I give them to my daughter too.
He has a
so
daughter?
we share them. 16 months old.
How's that going?
Difficult, but
Difficult?
Amazing. Yeah.
Is it a tough spot right now, or what's going on there?
No, I think I wouldn't call it tough. I would just say that I would never, the most challenging part of my life has been the most rewarding with her. And I mean, there's a whole story behind her, but it is like
There's a story behind her?
Yeah, well, I mean,
What does that mean?
she came while I was launching a company, right in the middle of it.
Father's Deer.
Not Father's Deer. Edit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
forgot about that. And
Right.
Not just CPG right here. This is a real
not just
entrepreneur right
CPG.
here.
Yeah. So she was a surprise baby and just completely changed my partner and I's life for the better, and it's been pretty amazing. So really redefined for me what an entrepreneur is, being an entrepreneur, but not only that, just put a long list of things into action, or it was like a chain of events that sort of happened once she came. And so it's been about 2 years since I got that news, and it's been incredible.
The news that
She was coming. Yeah. So
has she made you a better entrepreneur? What would you say?
I don't know. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think what I've learned the most is someone told me this recently, and they said, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And so because I know I'm going to be home by 4 today, and then I got her for the rest of the evening, right? And my partner Amy is also an entrepreneur, and so it's okay, instead of really kind of procrastinating, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to take my time on this, it's very much got to get this done because I got to be home, and I know that she's going to require so much energy. So it's a lot of fun.
Her name? Can I say her name?
Yeah, her name is Bear.
Her name's Bear. So that's a handful right there. And but I had the same experience. What did you say? Busy people get things done.
If you want something done, give it to a busy person.
If you want something done, give it to a busy person. And when I was in my MBA, I was way more productive than I am now.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, because you have so many things to do, you really learn to prioritize your time, kind of get rid of the things that don't really matter. You say no to things that are going to be a distraction, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think the challenge was not there's nothing that can really prepare you for it. I can't even really describe it. it's the first decision in my life that is just so permanent and it's like 24/7, right? Like there's always a need there. There's no like real break, and if you want to do it well, right? If you want to be in your child's life, and I'm sure there's easier ways probably for people, but
just abandon them.
No, but I'm just saying, babysitters. I've kind of been for a babysitter, but my Amy definitely hasn't. So
you're pro babysitter.
I'm pro babysitter. She's not.
She's not.
No, which is for the better. Which is for the best of our daughter, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you've maybe met her once, right? Yeah, you met her at the Father's Day lunch.
Yeah,
I mean, she's amazing.
She's awesome.
She's just such a good kid. So
I would just listen to her on that for now. She'll maybe sway the babysitting team.
Yeah,
eventually.
maybe as she gets older, but the development
16 months is a little young.
Yeah, very young. But yeah, how about...
has Bear been helping you with the water? So what happened to Edit? Let's talk about that maybe. So, I mean, I feel like I don't even need to like warm you up. We're like warmed up.
Yeah.
You feel warmed up?
Yeah, I feel better now.
You feel better?
Well, I mean, we jumped into the Father's Day stuff, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like, do I look into the camera? I'm like, look wherever you want, bro. Who gives a fuck? So let's just start. Where are you from?
Well,
what's your social security?
I was actually born in Texas.
You were born in Texas?
Which a lot of people don't realize.
Wait, where are you? What part?
El Paso.
Oh man,
El Paso, Texas.
Border town there, dude.
Yeah. So growing up, I was taught that my uncle actually told me that I was born in Kotex.
Kotex?
So people
What's that?
It's a female hygiene product. And so when I honestly thought I was born, people say, what part of Texas are you from? And I would say Kotex.
Kotex? This is like the manufacturing plant?
No, it's like Kotex, it's a tampon company.
Your uncle's a fucker.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of set the tone for my life.
You were born as a tampon? How old were you when you stopped saying that?
I mean, probably 13, when I realized what a Kotex was. And I think I may have been walking through a grocery store and I saw the logo and I read it. And I was like,
that's where I'm from.
Yeah. That's where I'm from. Exactly.
And your friends are like, wait, what?
My family, they're all like, they're all big drinkers. And so it was always funny. Like, they were all just like, I'd come in the room, like, what part of Texas are you from?
Kotex.
Kotex. Yeah. So
do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older sister.
She's from Pampers? Pampers! I'm from Pampers, Texas. No. Was she from Kotex?
No, she was born in Palm Springs.
Okay.
And then I lived in Palm Springs until I was about like 13 years old.
So was she younger or older?
She was older.
Okay.
And then I have two half
She moved there, the Palm Springs, then back to Palm Springs again?
Yeah. Then to Palm Springs, and then to from Palm Springs to Palos Verdes. And so
baby.
Yeah. And that was
that's where you went to high school.
That's where I went to high school.
Were you in middle school in California?
Yeah, so I went to I was in middle school, and I actually got kicked out of school.
What'd you do?
I was just a bad kid.
Me too, baby. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. So
I got kicked out of USC for a year. They let me back
really?
in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What'd you do, bro? Come on.
I mean, ditch school.
Me too.
Rode my bike around. You
rode a bike?
Oh yeah, I used to race bikes.
Race bicycles?
Yeah, ABA.
ABA? What's
American
that?
Bicycle Association.
You're in the American Bicycle Association? You're like, they're like, go to class. You're like, I'm in the ABA. You can't catch me. Okay, so you ditch class, ride some bikes, do a little...
Ditch class.
This is in Palm Springs?
Palm Springs.
Oh, it's hot out there, yeah.
Very hot.
A lot of bike riding around there.
Got in a lot of trouble, fights, and then I just got expelled from school. And a lot of, I had a rough childhood, and a lot of things happened. And
I mean, you're from Kotex, dude.
Yeah, like I said, that kind of start. That was my start in life. You know, so
You were bleeding right from the beginning.
yeah. So and then I moved to PV with my aunt and uncle. And
Okay.
so they had 3 kids as well. Mm-hmm. And when I moved in with them, I call them my brother and sister as well. They were younger, and so you know they always just sort of referred to me as a brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and PV was amazing. Like PV, I went from it was like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type of thing. Mm-hmm. It was like crazy. It went from just one way of life to this very, affluent community. Yeah. Where I went from metal detectors at my junior high school to like kids were wearing sandals. I was like, couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, so that was. You
picked up surfing then, right?
And then I picked up surfing then.
You saw the sandals and you're like...
I saw the sandals, kids wearing board shorts, and, it was a lot of fun. I think surfing was like... surfing kind of set the tone for the rest of my life then, it was
how so?
Just, you're alone in the water, mm-hmm. and when you go underwater, or depending on how, challenging you want to push yourself, it can, you're being held underwater, you're fighting waves, you're like fighting 4 waves, it can be aggressive depending on where you surf.
Yeah. Go with the flow.
Yeah, you just kind of, and so I spent, I was surf in the morning for like 2 hours, surf in the evening for 2 hours, and so you get a lot of time to think. You're like with yourself a lot, and you're in the ocean, something that's like so powerful,
nonstop,
so much bigger than you, and just when you think you're like good, you can immediately be humbled, like immediately, and so
surfing is very humbling.
Yeah, right.
It's fucking like, especially like where you're talking about holding air, like even these like 3-foot waves that aren't even that big, you go out of that, if you don't know what you're doing, it'll push you down and hold you down, and you're like trying to figure out which way's up, and like I think that was kind of the metaphor you were making about like, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you're going to be underwater and you don't know when you're going to get back up, and so like you just kind of got to relax, because if you freak out trying to get air too fast, you're not gonna have a good time. You kind of just have to go with the flow, right? Yeah, you have to. You're forced to submit to something like so much bigger. And I think the fun thing that I used to love doing is like going underwater, and you open your eyes, and it's like you just look out, and it just goes. Ocean?
Yeah, I mean days when it's clear, even or even if it's not, it's just darkness, right? And you look down, you can't see down.
You can't see anything.
You can't see anything, and it's just like you're like, holy shit! Like that goes so far. Like that's like it's so like there's so much you don't even know about it. And then you get out, and then you're back on the sand, and you go about your day, and it's like
more relaxing.
Yeah, you're more relaxed
because you almost died.
Right.
Almost hit a rock.
Almost hit a rock.
Almost got thrown down.
Do you surf much in Venice?
No, I used to surf more. I have every excuse not to.
Yeah, I can't.
And I take them because I'm kind of a bitch now.
I think I'm
like, it's not big enough. Like, I don't know. I feel like if it's above 3 to 4 is when I'm like interested. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to get rocked. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to get humbled. I get humbled a lot. But, we're right. The Venice, it's kind of a shitty wave, dude. It's not like...
I've surfed in Venice. Maybe I've lived here for probably coming up on like 10 years now, and I think I've surfed in Venice 3 times.
What, like just randomly, or is it
been like it's been shit? Desperate. One time it was like all time. I used to live on 26.
Did you go at the breakwater?
Yeah, I went to breakwater, but it was I don't even remember when this was. Maybe this was like 2018. Was it like 6 foot? Oh. It was big, and I couldn't believe it was like the best Venice I've ever seen.
Sometimes it gets like really good when it's like breaking a little behind the breakwater, and it just like kind of carries over for like 120 yards or whatever, like 200 yards.
That breakwater ride is like the most deceptive wave ever. It's like it just pulls out, and it looks so good, but it's never. Yeah. I've never been able to surf it. Like if you do, it's just like it's sucking you out, and you're just sort of hopping the whole time, trying to like stay in it. But
we should go surf some shitty waves in Venice, dude.
I know. I think I got so jaded on it. Is this?
We're committing right here, dude. Are you going to come with me or not?
Yeah, I'll go.
You'll
go.
go? When can you go?
You got to come down to Rose, though, dude.
Rose?
Yeah.
Rose Avenue?
The end of Rose.
What's there?
It's just my spot that I've localized.
That's your spot?
Yeah,
I'm here at the pier, dude. I'm on the, are you goofy or regular?
Regular.
Oh, man. Well, we'll be good, dude. I'm goofy. So
okay, there we go.
We should find an A-frame somewhere and we'll just claim it, dude. How is the caffeinated?
It's good. It's good.
You think the texture's better than it was? It should be less thick, right?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been paying attention, but
that's good. That means it's just going down.
That's good. I mean, I've liked it from the first time you showed it to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't eat yogurt, Like I'm not.
So do you think that's yogurt or do you think it's a smoothie? What would you call it?
Like I said,
I got feedback from Sprouts today.
Oh, really?
They want to they don't want to call it yogurt. They want me to call it something else.
Really?
Probably smoothie. They actually didn't like the name YoBe, bro.
Really?
They're like, YoBe's a bad name.
Who said this? You had Sprouts? The buyer?
The foragers of Sprouts.
They call themselves foragers?
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking kidding.
And I was like, well, what do they want to call it then? Like,
see, I don't know how your category is completely different than beverage.
Okay, but so I think YoBe's a cool name, but coconut almond protein, either smoothie or shake probably. Anyways, we got some good feedback from them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of true, right? Because what is defined by yogurt?
I don't know.
Like, I would think of a dairy product.
The problem with yogurt is we are in dairy, and even if we were in smoothie, we'd be dairy because that's just how the licensing is. But I mean, yeah, like our probiotics are they're heat treated, so yeah, we'll probably remove the probiotics. We'll see. It seems like they're kind of interested if we tweak a couple things.
Yeah,
I'm not tweaking YoBe name. I don't think they understand it. But it was the old packaging. They had the old packaging, and this looks way better.
Yeah, see, that pisses me off, right?
What?
Like they're gonna say, "Hey, you gotta do your product to do this way, right? We want you to change this. We're Sprouts, and we're gonna
500 stores,
and we're gonna dictate what's happening here, right? And it's like, how do you fucking? Sorry, can I cuss on you?
Cuss, dude.
It's like, how are you supposed to be an innovative company that's competing with places like Erewhon that are starting, and you're seeing this growth, and then you're going to tell a brand that's going to be like, oh, hey, we want you to do this, and we want you to do this, and it's like, I can't even remember the last time I stepped foot in a Sprouts. Yeah. I mean, you can take that out because I do want to sell the Sprouts at some point, but I'm selling Waterfield.
The only time I've been to Sprouts is when I was dropping my girlfriend off the last time I saw her. She needed groceries. I'm like, well, there's a Sprouts right here.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Sprouts is great, but he's bougie Erewhon kid.
I'm not a bougie Erewhon kid. Not at all. But I'm like, dude, you're going to sit here and tell me you don't like the name and you don't do this?
I mean, if you're not going to like the name, give me suggestions. Or at least tell me what's up.
It's called Sprouts Farmers Market.
Yeah. Well, they're not even a farmer's market, Apparently, Connor was saying that they don't even sell Sprouts.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But I don't care about the name. We're not changing YoBe's a cool name. Even if I was selling skateboards.
Yeah, I think it's great. I was just talking to someone today, and they're like, I'm tired of chasing this the wellness category standards of what to put in it. They started a brand, and they're like, we literally killed our product because they're like, less sugar. Happy. They're like, thus this, and they kept telling us what to do, and we had a great product, and then by the time we actually started to get traction, we were out of money, and so. I
mean, I'm not changing the name. I'm willing, is it a yogurt? I've been talking about it not being yogurt for a long time. I mean, there's probiotics. It's a yogurt-inspired, texture. If, for me, the minor changes that they're asking besides the brand name are things that I've considered doing regardless of their existence and their feedback.
Right.
So it's an easy, yes. If that's, the difference between getting in, for me, getting into a place 500 stores would be huge.
Yeah.
It would be a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they would say yes to 500 stores. They actually did like the fact that it could be, they said they were going to put it in the refrigerator. And then,
that's amazing.
So like, then I don't need to do the whole shelf stable thing that I'm going to continue doing regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they know their customer, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think that, yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, I'm not.
Also, yogurt. People don't like yogurt, bro.
Yeah, like I said, I've never. This is the first yogurt that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like I
if it said smoothie on there, would you?
It's a smoothie, yeah. I mean, yeah. The only reason why I tried it was obviously because you told me about it. But
homie.
But now
he's a homie.
I buy it, and it's great because I share it with my daughter. And then obviously, I've watched you go through the manufacturing process. I've talked to you a lot about it, and I know what's in it. And I think that's great. I feel like that's like the future of food products is these clean ingredients.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, they didn't like that I said organic and natural ingredients. They're like, that's confusing. I'm like, the licensing at non-GMO and organic said it's totally fine. Like, it's not confusing to them. Like, the standard. Like, anyways, it's just snooty foragers nitpicking,
Yeah, nitpicking stuff that people are going to glance at.
But I actually find a lot of value in nitpicks. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I was telling my team today, it's like, I don't have to make a decision on every single nitpick anyone ever gives, like the other company you were talking about. But like, as long as I have it cataloged in my brain, and then if I keep hearing the same nitpick over and over again, then I know like there might actually be something to actually consider and change. Does that make sense? Like, and people that are willing to like tell you, hey, I don't like this, like that's good.
Yeah.
Especially someone like Sprouts that's like actually has like a lot of customers, and they probably understand their customers. They understand their customers better than me, like that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean that gives you
their customers.
They're what? How many states are they in? There's like what, 230 Sprouts or something like that?
There's 517.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then there's 140 stores in California. I just looked this up. I don't know these things just off the top.
Yeah.
Anyways, who cares? We'll see.
Well,
the product tastes good. It might be a smoothie or a shake in the future. Let's talk about Father's Deer, or like, so how did you become this derelict like bicycle riding guy who like threw his bike in the ocean for a surfboard, and then all of a sudden like you're like, hey, I'm gonna start, because you started a water company, right? Before this.
Yeah, so
well, how did you get into CPG? Let's start with that.
So I got into I worked in the surf industry. I mean, right out of when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. So when I was living at my aunt and uncle's house, I pretty much knew, like right out of the gates, I was gonna have to work or figure out how to, either put myself through school or get a job. Mm-hmm. And so my senior year, I realized, that I needed to start working. So I started working at the Becker Surfboards warehouse. Mm-hmm. So that was like in Hermosa Beach, and that was like 2003 or 4, and they had just launched their .com. It was like beckersurf.com. And so I found this guy.
Like, what is Becker's? Sorry, is it a surfboard?
Yes, no, Becker Surfboards, man. It's like iconic. They're in Hermosa Beach.
No,
Becker.
Cool, yeah,
he's like shaped. He's like.
But their website, so they're just selling online.
They were selling. Yeah, they were selling like there wasn't any surf shit sold online. There was Pac.
2003, right?
Yeah, and then there was Swell.com, and then there was like BeckerSurf.com.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people didn't buy.
No Channel Island, like.
No Channel Islands.
No Jack's website.
No, I mean Jack's came out. And then Jack's put together a .com, but like BeckerSurf.com was like, we were like the leader.
Those are nice boards.
Yeah, great boards.
They look clean.
Yeah, and so I started working there my senior year, and they became like a family to me. It was like Dave Hollander and and the Mangelli family and everyone that basically built that company. And like the 80s and earlier, right? Like it was all this cool history. And so
So a little punk. They're kind of a little punk over there, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like wild. We had,
Get it done, buddy.
we worked. It was like I would work in the morning and then I'd work in the evenings, and we were shipping orders and stuff. And so I stayed within the surf.
You're shipping surfboards?
We shipped surfboards.
How do you pack a surfboard? Sorry,
Very carefully.
like in a box, like a cardboard box or like a wooden box.
Well, it was mostly, this is like right when stand-up paddleboarding like kind of took off. And that was maybe like 2007. And so there was this company called Sup ATX Austin, and they would do these, that was like when those new boards came out, when they got rid of styrofoam and they started using, what is that material? I'm drawing a blank on it, but
whatever.
They were mass producing these boards for the first time
in Austin.
I don't know, maybe Austin, probably Austin. That would explain the name, but
yeah.
So those, like, we were shipping stuff like that. We were selling, those on our site. But anyways, I was really just sort of in the surf industry. Like, that was like my life. But I realized that no one in the surf industry makes any money except owners in the surf industry, and even then, like, I knew friends that were like pro surfers and they were traveling, sleeping on people's couches,
yeah,
and like, yet they were like on these magazines and like having sponsorship. And so I was like, one day a mentor told me, he's like, look at your boss. He's like, is that the future you want? And I look in and he's like picking his nose, like literally at like the time. And so I was like, yeah, I walked in and literally quit that day. And
who's this mentor? It sounds powerful.
He's a great guy. He was a really, really smart guy. He like created the software system that we were using. This was before like Magento, and you couldn't just like launch an e-commerce site. You had to like build the software. So it was like this guy.
Nico wants to play.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was like, I just didn't realize.
So you're like, hey, I don't want to work for some surfer guy that's picking his nose. I got to start something. I got to own something, create my own reality. And so how did this morph into your first?
Yeah, I didn't really, I didn't really. One, it was like I was just broke for so long, and I didn't have any help from family. Family probably would have helped, but I was like way too prideful to even ask, And
you're still too prideful, bro.
And so we, eventually I started working for this, like, I got like the most corporate job I could find. It was literally called Total Corporate Solutions.
So what did you do?
I was just business development.
Assassinate people?
Sold,
business development.
It was a really good friend of mine's dad.
Total Corporate Solutions.
Total Corporate Solutions. It was like a one-stop business
TCS,
shop.
Baby.
Yeah, and so I was like doing marketing. We were like had a marketing division, and we were just selling stuff. We sold like Amazon Web Services when they were first coming out. We sold security services, office furniture, pretty much anything you needed for
your office,
a business.
Yeah.
And then this company, Penta Water, was one of my clients.
So they were your client?
They were my client, yeah. And so we got him into a contract, and we were helping him grow from a marketing standpoint.
So you were working for Total Corporate Services
Solutions,
yeah. Services, and then Penta was a water company. You were like helping them sell water to these officers.
We were like trying to do some marketing stuff for them. You know, we were. They had.
Oh, they came to you for marketing.
Yeah, one of the guys that worked in our companies had worked with the owner a while back, and and then I kind of knew the owner's daughter. They went to my high school, and just sort of knew him loosely. And then got to know the owner pretty well, like through the contract and
through servicing or solutioning.
Through solutioning him, yeah. And so it was like eventually we just like you're
like, hey bro, I want to work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you like went to the other side.
Went to the other side, and then got my feet wet in the beverage industry. And
didn't he make you a co-founder or something?
No, so then what it was is I started out as director of sales, and the company was
hustling, dude. You're a hustler, bro.
Hustling, like,
hey, bro, you need some water?
Yeah, I mean it was water, so it was great, but it was also like right.
What was cool about Pinta though? Like, why did you want to work for Pinta Water?
I had a buddy that was in the beverage industry. They started a company called Just Chill.
So you met the guys at Just Chill, right? And so you had your buddy Max Bauman, who my brother has worked with.
Yeah.
And they started Just Chill, and then something with Pinta. Like, give me more information.
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up with Caleb. Caleb's one of my greatest friends. We're like brothers, and they
started Just Chill,
and he had started Just Chill, and
which was like what is Just Chill?
It was like a relaxation drink. It had like L-theanine, and it was basically the opposite of an energy drink, right? Like something to like decompress.
Okay.
Which was just like way ahead of its time, And like now it's CBD drinks, right? And it's like sleep drinks and calm and things like that. And so, just it was like. It just seemed like a really cool industry, right? And it was like, I felt like one, there was a lot of money in it. Two, it was a product, right? Like I was selling a service at TCS, which was, which is you're like always servicing a client, right? Versus if I just deliver you a product, there it is. Like, let's just exchange, and and I can make this product as good as possible. And if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Versus when you have a client, it's like maybe they don't like things or subjective things, right? Like you're tap dancing all the time.
Yeah.
And so, when I met the owner of Penta, I just, just a really great family.
So you were already friends with Just Chill. You met the owner of Penta.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, he and I really got along, and it was a click. It was a lot of fun. His daughters got involved. They became, really good friends with them. And, it was he was like a very family run business. He had a couple other companies, that he was running as well. And so he had kind of like a senior management team that, I served on and helped with. And then that's when I met Max. And so he was just starting Base Makers at the time, and Base Makers, which is doing really well now.
Which is what?
They do merchandising. They would do all of our merchandising. So instead of us like being able to reach stores and buyers and make sure that like our product is on the shelf, they started doing that for us, and they would just do like a per store charge. So instead of having a field rep or a national rep or someone going in stores constantly, they would do that, and they represent like 6 brands.
And they would make sure your stuff's in the right spot.
Yeah, exactly. Placement. Restock it, get end caps, things like that. And now they do full on like brokerage sales. They'll help you get into accounts.
Yeah, you're shedding, dude. He doesn't normally.
He doesn't care what you're talking about.
Okay. And so.
Yeah, and so.
So what happened with Penta, dude?
So Penta.
This isn't Penta. What's going on here?
Yeah. So Penta was. We actually were. We were approached to get purchased by someone, and it was actually pretty cool. It's Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez when they were together. And there was this guy.
She's dated everybody, I feel like.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, we actually
the block,
we met with her, and
was she nice in person?
Oh, she's amazing.
Okay,
like,
cool. That's good.
She was incredible. I mean, she was like.
Did you meet A-Rod?
Yeah, A-Rod.
What was he like?
Same, like great people, and they were, I was blown away. I submitted like just sort of a bio about myself, and she like sat down in the meeting, and she like didn't look at it once, but knew everything that I had written in there. Like
she had looked at it previously.
Yeah, because she either her team prepped her, but the fact is she cared, right?
Yeah.
And I had heard that she's like a very shrewd business person.
Shrewd.
Yeah, very shrewd.
Like cutthroat.
Not cutthroat, just smart.
Shrewd
just shrewd is just like to the point, and and it's kind of no BS. And you could, you could actually probably see that in her work ethic.
Yeah.
And I watched.
She seems busy, right?
Yeah. I mean, she was just ending her residency in Vegas that when we met with her.
She sings too.
Yeah, and she does.
Does she do movies still?
I don't know. I have no idea.
She's dating Ben Affleck, right? This is now like an entertainment.
They're on the road, supposedly.
They're on the ropes?
Yeah.
What's that Davidson guy's going to come in now? What's that guy?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Wow, I haven't heard his name in a long time.
Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
Who's he dating, dude?
Yeah.
He always goes after like the breakup big celebrity couple.
I think what would be worse is like to be the guy that dates a girl after Pete Davidson.
the double dump.
It's like what's his backdraft like?
Pete Davidson's like a garbage pail, dude. He's like, oh, here's the leftovers. I'm about it, dude.
I don't know. He seems kind of like the sidestep or something. You know?
He's just in there.
He's like the level up.
He's a level up.
Yeah, I mean every time anyone who dates him gets national like.
Oh, he dated Kim Kardashian, right?
Did he?
Didn't he?
I don't know. Oh,
Connor's saying yes. Who else did he date? Do you know?
Ariana Grande. I'm not one with pop culture, but
he gives some awesome trashy ladies, dude.
Gerber, a lot of different supermodels still.
Wow.
He slays, dude.
Yeah.
He's pretty. We got to get him some Father's Day.
Yeah, like I said, how do you date?
We get YoBe to fucking?
How do you date someone after him? Right?
Yeah. I mean, these dates pretty serious people. So you got J-Lo involved. She's shrewd, but she's somehow said yes in some capacity. Is that what?
Yeah. So that was like that kick started like the whole M&A process, right? And then there was another company in the room that they were trying to buy as well. And basically they were going to buy both the companies, combine the revenue, grow them, and build their portfolio, right?
And you were part of all that.
Yeah. And so United Beverage, so Penta made us, the thing about Penta is we co-packed our own product. So we did everything except for like the bottle and the cap, right? And so that gave us a lot of advantage and leverage to do things in the market and also operate pretty profitably. And so, that was attractive to them. And then the other company was Generosity Water, which was like, this guy Micah and Scooter Braun and Justin Bieber that were involved. And I think
I've heard of Justin Bieber.
Yeah, they've since sort of moved on to something. But then we decided to merge with Generosity and and Micah and we were like, hey, why don't we just merge and then sell the company, right? Rather than them buy it and then do it. And so so that process took like maybe 6 to 8 months, and it was like it was the coolest thing because one, you're literally like gutting your company and you're seeing everything, where you're losing money, like where you did well, places you thought you were making money, you're not actually making money, and I don't think a full audit had really ever been done at Penta, like that. And so, it was a national brand. Penta has a long story. It was Charles, the owner, bought it out of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And so it's got this whole crazy story, and it's like, it was like the original celebrity water, like back in 2008 or something.
2008.
Yeah.
This is when you were doing this.
No, I wasn't even doing it then. I didn't come on until like 2012 or 14, I think. Yeah. And so then, but they were like making all these claims because a bunch of people were really like, it's such a pure water. And people, they were like saying, oh, it cures cancer, it cures fibromyalgia. And it
Can you check the mics just real quick? Just make sure they're moving. All right, chill.
Yeah, so there was
fibromyalgia.
Yeah, fibromyalgia. What is
fibromyalgia?
I don't know. Some people say it's. Some people say it doesn't really exist, and then some people say it does.
So okay.
So. Yeah, like there's
it exists. People talk about it, and at least that.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I actually read more about it.
The Penta water solved it, and other water.
Well, yeah. So basically, because it's such a pure water, like, and it's a patented process in 13 steps, 11 hours. And they use like they oxygenate the water, they cavitate it, and it's a really clean water. It's a great water, right? And so when like a lot of people going through chemo drink it because they don't have, there's no metallic taste in it and there's nothing in it, and unlike distilled water, it's not like dead, so Yeah, so it was
So
fun.
what happened with you and Penta?
So then after we merged with that other company, you know, I had been there for about 5 years, and you know, and then that's when I was basically standing to make a percentage and be a partner within Penta.
Yeah.
And you know, we had worked that, negotiated that in, and it would have, you know, my shares would have vested over a certain amount of time, and you know, after that, I was like, I just kind of had always, you know, I think what really propelled me is like when I was working at the surf company, and that time where I like looked at, you know, the guys that were above me, I was like, if I honestly think I'm better, you know, if I honestly think I can do better, you know, because every employee, like statistically thinks they should be paid more, right? Everyone, just like everyone thinks they're a good driver, everyone thinks they're this. And I was just always kind of like,
do you want the guys that don't? Like,
no, I mean, but really,
would you hire someone that thinks he deserves less?
But really, like the attitude of most people is like, oh, that guy's dumb, I could do a better job. But that guy's, whether you could do a better job or not, that guy's the one taking all the risk. It's like, that's
talking about the entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's like being an entrepreneur, right? Of course, there's probably there's hundreds of people that could probably do better than I can.
My
thousands, in
employees,
fact.
my employees have made more money doing YoBe than I've made.
Exactly.
Like,
right?
They make profit.
Yeah, right.
I have debt.
You pay people more.
They've made way more money than I have at this stage.
But no one understands, like, but it's a whole different ball game when all the risk is on your shoulders.
I would basically I would pay myself like a $10 burrito at fucking Lincoln Ralph's. Like once a week I get a burrito, I'd pull it from the YoBe funds. Dude, I mean I buy stupid shit like this sometimes, but like this is like part of the, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so I was like, I can do this, you know, I can do this on my own. And so I was like,
So you left Penta.
So I left Penta.
And then what happened then? Like, where'd you go?
And then it was like maybe for like 2 months, I didn't really do much. I was like, you know, I basically, you know, at that point I had been working, you know, I'd worked a lot, pretty nonstop.
This is
since
2012.
I was like 16. No, this is now we're like at 2015 or 16,
okay.
You know, and, or maybe even 17. I don't.
So you vested, you took your money out?
No, it was like 2018. No, I didn't. I mean, I couldn't take my money out or anything. You know, I just basically, you know, the deal, they had formed a new company, and you know, I owned like 2% of it or something, and I could have made up to 5 essentially, right? If I'd stayed, yeah. And so, you know, I didn't really have any expectation of it. I was really, you know, like I said, I was great friends with the family, and you know, I was like, great, Penta's in a good position, they'll do fine. You know, they've got a lot of people behind it, and so I was really just ready to explore like what I actually wanted to do.
And what was that?
I didn't know. You know, I really didn't know. I knew that I was like, I wanted to be in control of my future, really. You know, and
so where did you land?
So I for like 2 months, I was just sort of figuring it out and just talking to people, talking to other entrepreneurs. And then I met a buddy who wanted to basically eliminate single-use plastic bottles, which was like, his vision was
That's a beautiful goal.
Yeah, and so it was a really cool concept, wanted to basically create kiosks that would dispense like those aluminum bottles and do it within like a theme park.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd buy a bottle filled for $12, you'd use it throughout the duration of the theme park, and then you'd throw it back, it would scan it, and it'd refund you, you know, $12, and the cost of water the whole time was like $1,
mm-hmm.
right? And then most people would take the bottle, so you would, you know, end up getting a $14 bottle, and it'd say like San Diego Zoo on it, right? And it'd be one of those like
cool.
swell bottles. Yeah, it was a really great idea. And you know, and then we started working on that. We started like raising money, and then it just kind of like, you know, it didn't really feel right, like
mm-hmm.
in certain ways. Like I was like personally just going through a lot of shit. Like mm-hmm. It was like, you know, and then the pandemic hit. So it was like you have this.
So you're doing the San Diego Zoo aluminum water thing. Wasn't there Vibe Organic at some point?
Yeah. So while I was at Penta, I did some advisory work for Vibe Organics. really good friend JR introduced me to Wyatt, the two founders of that company, and they were doing that shot vibe, which you've probably seen at like every coffee shop or pretty much anywhere in LA, grocery store. Yeah, and that was really cool. Like I sat with those guys, and Wyatt and JR were just, when you were around founders that are just
when they
so
started,
driven,
how many flavors did they have?
they didn't have any.
They just had one SKU?
They had
How many SKUs did they have?
they had
Like a ginger,
it was a ginger
turmeric?
shot.
They had to have ginger
They
turmeric.
just they basically just approached me and like, we want to start a ginger shot, and I'm like,
This is before they actually they approached you before they actually were in retail?
Yeah, they didn't even they approached me before they even had the samples.
What? They had that just with that idea.
They just had they had the formulation and process, and they're I was like, yeah, I love ginger shots, but RTD ginger shot, like,
It's not shelf stable.
I don't know, Yeah, and I was just like, how are you going to refrigerate that, and this and that, but
Where are you gonna put it in the store?
But dude, these guys were so hungry that like it was just infectious. Like you couldn't say no to them, and if Wyatt was just like, it was like he was like a sponge every time we'd meet. Like I was really just kind of showing him, sharing documents with them. I made distributor introductions, and would talk with them about pricing, pretty much everything, right?
Did you introduce me to LA Distributing?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think he
Possibly.
was anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few of them.
He helps people out. He's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So you help them build their company. Pandemic happened while you're doing this next thing, and then now
yeah, and then I was just doing and then the pandemic was pretty tough, right? Like that was, I think that was for me just a totally different, it was like really when, I found there was like a lot of things with like addiction for me with like during the pandemic, and that was like something,
Because you mentioned something about you were kind of going crazy at Penta, or was it like?
No, Penta wasn't, the Penta days were great, but, it was, I think, what's interesting. You asked a question about what's different now with a baby versus like what I was doing then, and it was like partying. That was like.
There's less partying with the baby?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was like the only way to meet people was to like drink. It was like you had to be at the right place, the right time, like walk in, have the ego, slap everyone's hand, like, be the life of the party. And that worked to a certain degree. But there was like, I would say like 90% of that stuff is going to be, bullshit in a way, right? Like, it's like everyone wants to like talk and we're going to do this, we'll make this introduction,
we're going to sell ginger shots.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they did it. Not with that. And like some people do it successfully, but it was fun, and then all of a sudden it's fun until it's not, it's fun. It's not fun when it carries over into like your personal life, And so, Penta, like,
I know about that. We talk about it for me. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sober for a reason because I was crazy, bro.
Exactly.
I still am crazy.
And so, you
a little more controlled, a little more. Not totally.
You like really, then all of a sudden you take that away and you're like, okay, wow, I actually have to sit down and have like just honest, straightforward conversations with people. And that shift, depending on, what you might be going through, can be different. And so like Penta was good because it was like there was a team. It was always like it was regimented, right? Like I had people to answer to, and I had this. But then all of a sudden that was gone, and it was like, well, who's really holding me accountable, right? Like no one really. And so, and then all of a sudden, you have this pandemic, and it's like complete isolation. It's just like, it was just like a perfect storm, right? And like the world got to see what life was like for like an addict, right? It was like you just all of a sudden this like seclusion, you can't do this, you can't talk, and whatever it was for anyone. But I still kept doing consulting stuff through them during, and then kept doing kind of consulting, and from there it was like, it just, I think things like, eventually I was just like so burned out with like everything, you know, like burned out with entrepreneurship, burned out with like, you know, trying to play the like work-life balance game of like, you know, it was just like, it was exhausting, like honestly. And so I think that was when I started to, you know, and then that's when I started to get sober, really, right? Like, and all of a sudden I had just fucking burned down so many different things, you know, maybe not as bad as like most people, but I mean, it was just like I had stopped talking to friends. I was like, you know, I'd stopped. Yeah. It was like I was so far from who I really was.
So the pandemic was like good for you.
Yeah, in a way, yes. It accelerated.
It was bad to good, you know.
Yeah, you know, and so started like looking at, you know, psychedelics were a big part too, like of my life, you know, very early on.
In Kotex?
In Kotex. in Kotex. You know, I believed in psychedelics. I think, you know, it was like I'd gotten a bad skateboarding accident when I was like when I was 17.
Yeah, what happened?
And me and my buddies, we used to have this like downhill skate team. You
downhill,
know?
like what kind of hills were we talking about?
Like PV. I mean, you know, like whatever in PV, you know.
So you scary now. I thought you were talking about Palm Springs, so I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's pretty flat there, dude. So you're in PV, dude?
Yeah, we were like, you know, we were dumb high school kids.
Mobbing?
You know? We like got matching tracksuits and we would like, you know, skate down together and
you're like choreographed skating? Is this
choreographed skating?
You hurt yourself?
Yeah,
hills,
a buddy of mine ran into the back of me. Well, he had speed wobbles and he tried to grab my shoulders to like stabilize himself.
Oh my god!
And I
fucked both.
And I was like, whoa! I had no idea what was going on.
Horse collar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's illegal in the NFL for a reason, bro.
He tried to big guy rodeo me.
You fuck up your leg, dude.
Yeah, well then we flipped and like I broke my leg, like my ribs, like skinned off half my back, like my wrist. And that was like my junior year of high school. You know, it was like
it was
taking
a bunch of psychedelics to heal. Like what happened?
No, and then some like doctor fucking gave me like, you know, here's OxyContin or whatever it was, like Norcos at the time. You know, and I was on them for maybe a good 3 months or 4 months. You know?
Had a bunch of, but yeah, you broke your leg, your back.
But this was also before there was like, you know, they're like, oh, they're addicting, you know, be careful.
The OxyContin like pandemic hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, like the whole like that whole like there wasn't many people on them, you know, and so that just
isn't that crazy that like these doctors like they created it, like. And at least in your case, like you actually were hurt, and they're like, "Hey, like here, this will make you feel better." And it sounds like it made you feel better.
Oh my god, it was like it was amazing. Like it was like all of a sudden I was like myself. I was like, oh, you know, because it would like you forget too, right? I went from living in Palm Springs to like all of a sudden this school, living with like my aunt and uncle, and you know I was 13 years old when I left my house. You know what I mean? And so there was like, you know, and all of a sudden I'm in this very wealthy community and like I didn't fucking know really, you know, and so all of a sudden you know, there's like this deep imposter syndrome at like developmental years, you know, and so then when all of a sudden I take this like OxyContin and or like this, you know, these opiate, I'm just, you know, fearless, and it's like I'm calm, my mind shuts down, and I'm not overthinking everything, and so
see that's one of the reasons I became a drunkard and alcoholic is because like. When I would drink, I would stop being so neurotic, like overthinking, like what do they think of me? Like I was just like, yo, whatever, dude. I don't really care. And like I felt, you kind of mentioned that like going from Palm Springs to PV is like a culture shock. Like I've had experiences too where I'm like I'm like, wait, do I belong here? Like, and I just remember like drugs and alcohol were the great eraser of any doubt if I should belong. I mean, they're called spirits for a reason. Yeah. And I was just super blessed that I never really got into opiates. Like, if I had an accident like yours, like I could have, but like, you know, they're no joke. Like they destroy lives, and we're glad that you're doing better, I guess. Right?
Yeah, right. And I think what's so scary about them is you just honestly think you're so fine. and it's like this
Euphoric,
slow.
right?
It's so but it's like a 2-3 year just steady downhill. But you think you're going up, and it's not you that it's the people around you that see it first.
Yeah.
And you're so convincing on it, and it's such like you need it to. You're willing to lie to anyone, right? That'll be like, hey man, are you okay? Yeah, like what's and that's like you'll say anything, and it's like they don't know, they love you, right? So they're like, oh well, they're just gonna trust you, and then when it gets so bad, it's like, holy shit, you're so far from everyone, and you've just like you've alienated and you isolate and like, and you think you're but you're
5 more minutes.
But you're like focused, right? You can get things done like that. Like for me, that was where I would do drugs or I would like use things, and things would go like this, like. But inside, I would be going down, right? And so it was, it was like I thought it was fine. Like I could do it. I would, recreationally use them sometimes and go off and on. And I didn't really understand what withdrawal was. Like there wasn't, and then. And so things got worse and up and down, and I just thought, oh, my career's going like this, so I don't have a problem, right? Yeah. And then I would just drink, right? And I would drink, and then I'd do this, and it was just like this constant thing. And then I think
psychedelics.
And then so the thing that really changed my life was, was psychedelics, right? And this was this was before, I did ayahuasca before it was like everyone was like, do ayahuasca,
Was that good?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I think that I think it's way taken out of context these days. I think it's going to become dangerous for people thinking that it's like this one-stop fix-all.
You got to do the work too, right?
And so having done tons of psychedelics, having done everything, having tried everything to quit, I will tell you, probably the only way to do it is to literally sit down and day by day do the work. Like there's no fast track, and maybe some people, they're very helpful.
Well, you can have a spiritual experience, right?
For addiction, See, I can't speak to like depression and PTSD and all these other things that it's really helpful for. I think that is, but for addiction, I think it's a touchy thing, and that's that's when Edit came in, right? The company Edit, and that's what my partner and I really figured out, that like.
What partner?
Amy, who's also, so Amy was my business partner first, and then
she was first a business partner.
She was our first business partner, and
seems like you had a really good relationship.
We had a great relationship.
So basically, you wanted to get better. You had some good previous help with psychedelics, and like psychedelics are like, like now, especially more than ever, they've like. It's scientifically proven like how effective they can be, and like I guess federal laws haven't all caught up, but like you started Edit with your partner Amy, who ended up becoming Bear's mother. So let's talk about that.
No, it was.
And then let's talk about Father's Dear.
Yeah, let's talk about Father's Dear.
Unless we want to go into some more tangents.
No, we don't need to go into the deep stuff.
Let's get going, dude. Who cares, dude?
Edit was like a real deep like passion project.
So what is it? Describe it.
So Edit was using. The goal was to eventually branch out to bigger psychedelics, right? Once they became legal, but ketamine is the it's it's the only one that's a Schedule 3 DEA controlled substance. So during COVID there was something called the Ryan-Haight Act. And the Ryan-Haight Act basically allowed you to prescribe scheduled substances and make prescriptions via telehealth, which means that opened up a whole market, right? Like the HIMSS, all these like medical companies that were like just doing telehealth consultation and then writing prescriptions. And so, we saw it.
What's HIMSS? Is it like
not HIMSS? I'm thinking of the other name.
Pills, right?
No, it wasn't. HIMSS started as like hair growth and just like male supplements, and then there's hers and then there's now,
So how did you meet Amy, and how did y'all decide, hey, we should do this?
We met at a cannabis event. I was doing consulting for a friend's cannabis company.
Okay.
And we just started talking, and she had been working for a really big at-home ketamine company, like psychedelics company. And I was just kind of telling her about, I just like, that's what I wanted to do.
You're like, I'm a hustler. This is interesting to me.
Exactly.
I want to help. And she's like, yeah, you seem cool.
Yeah, and so we just started
Maybe I'll have a baby
talking
with you in the future.
and she basically had a deck going already, and like,
you just swooped on it, and you're like, hey, you got a deck? Like,
yeah, and we just like, it just started going like naturally, like really fast. And
when I met you, you were working on edit.
Yeah, I was working on edit, and then we realized, like it was a while, and then we realized there was like an attraction there, and we were like, we can't, we were like, no, like we're not going to do this. We're business partners. It's just not going to work. It wouldn't. We just thought from like an investor perspective, it just wouldn't look really good.
Yeah.
And then just how business like partnerships and businesses can just go sideways anytime. You know, and so we fought it. We fought it for a really long time.
What?
The relationship.
You fought being
together.
Personally romantic.
Yeah. We fought it for a while.
But water goes to its own level, right?
Water goes to its own level, exactly.
So then what happened? Y'all decided, hey, like our relationship romantically is more important than edit, or what? Like, is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, we basically spent 2 months in Montreal, like building the product, and we had built like a whole virtual reality integration piece to it, which was really, really cool. And we had worked with an agency there.
Damn.
Yeah, we like went all in.
Y'all were serious.
And before we left, we had like some really heavy verbal commitments from like financial support. We go there for 2 months.
I do want to talk about you getting funding and stuff. That would be useful for us.
Oh, for sure.
You're good at it. So let's more cliff notes.
Yeah. So we so we had gotten verbal, and so we're like, look, let's not take any money yet. Let's go do like a product. Let's just get product market fit a little bit, build the product, so then we can raise at a higher valuation and keep more of the company. Logical, right?
Yeah, very logical. I know about that logic.
Yeah,
that's
right.
My logic.
Exactly. It's you're living, breathing, right?
I'm no, I don't want to raise funds. He's telling me all the time, and I'm like, no, dude, I want to raise more money for more equity for me. And
it was also.
So did it burn you?
Well, no. I mean, it was the best thing that could have happened to us, to be honest, that we didn't, right? But we left, and it was like we left. We did that in the world of like there was like a unicorn being created every month.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. People were getting these crazy valuations, like
for this.
Money was just flowing everywhere, right? And then all of a sudden we go and we come back from Montreal and everything flipped. It was like no one was investing. Like it was like fear of recession, fear of this. It was like no one was investing in really anything. And we're like,
missed it.
I had a couple friends that were like, oh, what's your backup plan? And I'm like, like fuck you, you know what I mean? Like
Father's dear baby, let's
go. And so it was
having a baby.
Yeah, or having a baby. And then so we basically went from being together for 2 months to we came back, she went back to Manhattan Beach, I came back to Venice. And I'm like, we would work together during the week and then go home on the weekends. And I was watching this show on Apple called Home. And it was like these architects, and they were talking about building homes, but they were talking about a home isn't the architect, it's like the people that fill it. And I'm like sitting there watching, and I'm like, wow, there's this like beautiful woman that like I've just been working with, I've been spending time with, that's like incredible, that like is just got such a powerful story, and just like was so admired by what she had done, what she had been through. And I'm like, I called my buddy and I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm like, I think I want it, like, dude, I think this girl's the one, I think. And
from business partner to
and I literally called her and I'm like, hey, I'm coming over, I don't want, and I was like, if we're gonna be together, that's it, like I don't want to date, I don't want to like, let's just like, and she was like, whoa, and so I went over there and we were like, all right, let's do it, and so we did it. We just started like dating, and and we were just kind of joking around.
So from business partner to girlfriend.
And we were like, we were just kind of it was like, we're gonna be married. It was like a marriage conversation. Like I just wanted to do it, and And then we just kind of kept working, and then
On edit a little bit?
we were working on edit every day,
Okay.
and working together. And then like right around July or August, or probably July, I think, is when she got pregnant. And so it was just like, it just, that really made things very different, right? Like having a startup and a pregnant co-founder, and then the romance and like this. And so, it was, and then trying to raise money. Like we were just like in this sort of gauntlet.
So you were raising money.
They were raising money
In a bad market.
and then she all of a sudden, the first trimester of pregnancy is like, you're sick, you're like, I mean, she's growing a kid.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I basically took out my star player.
Yeah.
That's the way I say it. So, and then also, I mean, look, the reality of it is, whether anyone's going to openly say it, like, who's going to invest in a pregnant founder or pregnant, like a startup who one of the founders, like just no one will say it, but they're going to be like, oh, cool. There's women out there that I know have done it, but like, it's just,
That's true.
you're not right. Like it, and they weren't, and
I probably wouldn't do it either.
yeah, you're going to say, okay, well then,
Just to be honest.
yeah.
It's
and,
like raising a kid's hard.
yeah,
right?
it's
Isn't it?
and then it was, yeah, it's fucking really hard. Yeah, but we just, we stuck together, and we just kind of.
She could have done it though.
She did do it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's amazing. I mean, we
Yeah.
did it. Like
She's awesome.
We did it, and and we kept edit going for, I mean, a really long time. And she really she just stepped up in a lot of ways, and was like just on top of it. Just became like, and she just kind of took it in stride, and so that was really, that was really cool. It was really inspiring to see. And then, as we just sort of went on, the Ryan Haight, we were operating through really a loophole, right? And so
the law.
yeah, the Ryan Haight Act. And so when that basically was coming to a conclusion, that was like, it was going to change the way that we could meet with patients. And so we had a whole telehealth model built. And now and so with healthcare, I mean, the reality is I jumped into a whole industry that I knew nothing about. Yeah. Nothing about. And so anyways, that was edit.
He said, fuck mental health.
Yeah.
Everybody drinks water. Let's talk about this.
So, yeah,
But look, but for the podcast, like every single experience, whether it succeeds or not, you learn a lot. And I'm guaranteeing, like, even with the whole edit thing, like you learn so much.
oh, yeah.
Like, even if you didn't learn anything, you got a beautiful daughter.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
partner. It was like
I said, it's been the most rewarding time of my life, I've ever, and I would have never guessed that, and my daughter's amazing,
you could start edit again, dude.
And, well, it's still,
we some pallets of some Father's Dear.
We just put edit on, we put edit on sort of cruise control right now, and Amy still runs it and kind of figuring out what the direction is from there. We obviously stopped. We didn't try to raise money for it anymore. And I honestly
You're raising
believe,
a kid now.
Yeah, I honestly believe something will happen. And so what was really cool though is Father's Dear, a buddy of mine I had known for maybe 10 years plus.
Who drives a lot of cool cars, right?
Who drives a lot of cool cars.
Old school British Land Rovers, right?
Yeah, he's just
he's got some cool aesthetic.
he's just like a doer. I mean, he's just like
Doer?
Yeah,
We love doers here at YoBeAwesome.
Get shit done.
That's what we're talking about.
He's on top of it, and he's a big photographer. Runs a very, very successful high volume e-commerce photography studio.
Cool.
And he had called me maybe 2 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, I want to start a water," and I'm like, "Don't do it, dude."
Why not start a water company? Tell everyone why you shouldn't do it.
Because it's the most saturated market. Everyone at some point wants to start a water company, and I literally get a phone call after Penta. I kid you not, I would get a phone call every month from someone either starting a water company or had a water idea, and then it was CBD water, and then it was this water, and
mushroom water, baby.
Yeah, it's all these waters, and so
ketamine water.
You know, and you think about the water companies out there, like Mark Wahlberg and P. Diddy have a water.
Yeah.
And it's like even they're struggling. Like I don't even know what happened to Aqua Hydrate. Like, I don't even know what's happening with them. And they have a big water, and it's like even for them it's struggling. So I'd kind of told him no, and he was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, you need."
Really?
I was like, "You need like $50 million."
50?
At least.
50.
50. I honestly believe that's probably like to really make it as water, you have to spend so much money on just production, marketing, and then to be able to get it to the location to where, like, to be able to get it to where.
I mean, this looks so nice, dude. This is quality.
It's a great water.
Craftsmanship.
I mean, like, you know, and so, anyways, we didn't talk about it.
So you got 50 million.
No, we didn't get 50 million. And
so
then,
what? How do you convince
then, all of a sudden, I'm like watching this like can water movement, right? And I'm
Liquid Death,
and like, and you see all these like aluminum cans, and so I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, right? Like, box water just tastes like shit, or any water in that Tetra Pak.
Tetra Pak,
it didn't taste very good. And so when I finally, you know, even I think just seeing what Liquid Death did and like seeing it as a category, I was like, wow, you know, I feel like this is going to be a transition. And you see like LAX banning single-use plastic, you see all this end to single-use plastic. Mm-hmm. And so now like the container is changing, and, you know, and now you can do a lot more with it. And so,
I'm curious though, are cans more expensive than plastic bottles?
No.
They're cheaper.
They're cheaper.
Really?
Yes, they're cheaper. And so
they're cheaper and they feel better?
Well, it just depends. I mean, I guess doing PET, it depends what type of PET you use, right? Like, so if you get like one of those shitty Arrowhead bottles, probably, it's cheaper, right? Yeah. More than likely.
What do you think that costs 4 cents?
Yeah, and that thing's like, probably just chock full of plastic,
microplastics,
BPA, and who knows, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but if you do
that's the good shit, right?
That should really give you a little gut.
You got some microplastic babies coming out, dude.
So, you know,
well, like Penta had nicer, like,
Penta was like, you know, like
premium. Like, what about Smart Water? I mean, Smart Water, like those types
depends. Some of them,
they probably have such volume that they're cheaper. But but generally, what you're saying is per size, for small MOQ, aluminum's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what I'm hearing?
And
because the shapes are basically the same too.
Overall, like no matter what anyone tells you, there is no recyclable plastic. Like once you create plastic, it always exists in the universe
as plastic.
And you can only recycle it once. Yeah. And you can and that recycling, like you can turn it into a granite table, but you cannot turn it into a reusable container again. Yeah. Or at least a clear one. Yeah. Right. And so
I mean, that's one of the things I don't like about YoBe is we have the aluminum and PET or PP and like. You know, but there is like TerraCycle.com where you can ship them to, where they actually pull them apart to do that. But, so I think the aluminum can, so that's one of the differentiation things about Father Steer that you were like interested in. What else is differentiated about it?
And then his just design, like he had like the whole deck built out, and you know, he had the whole concept. He actually like walks the walk of the brand. Like he's an outdoors guy. Mm-hmm. You know, he really had like he really wanted to go after like a specific customer.
Are y'all heading this up for like national parks and stuff?
Yeah, so
I would say that would be like great brand like cohesion.
Yeah, we give 2 cents of every can sold back to national parks.
2 cents. And why isn't this? Is that on this?
Well, we actually can't put it on there yet until we actually make a full contribution, annual contribution of at least like $1 million or something.
$1 million.
So eventually we'll be able to.
How much they make you pay? It's crazy.
It may not be $1 million. It's something like, you know, I don't know, maybe 500,000 or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so, you know, so
you'll get there, dude.
We were just, you know, he was like, at first I thought he just wanted me to help him like get it off the ground. Mm-hmm. And so I said yes, and then as we started to get going, you know, I like edit was kind of phasing out, and I was like really, you know, wondering like, you know, what I was gonna do after edit. Mm-hmm. And so when Alex and I started working on this, I was like, wow, this is like, water was kind of fun again, because I didn't realize, I forgot how much I knew. Like I went into an industry healthcare, which was like absolutely crazy of me to think that I was like going to succeed. Just
a lot of red tape.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone in healthcare, like the guys that succeed in healthcare are like Ivy League graduates that like, you know, they're on another level versus.
Dude, you're on their level, bro.
Yeah, well, dude,
You're on another level too,
and
bro.
so it was like, so now all of a sudden this is like, wait, it's back to water. Like industry, I understand. I knew people. I had a lot of connections in it.
Yeah.
And so it just felt good, you know. It just felt good to like to not feel like this crazy pressure to succeed, you know. And
you still feel that? Don't lie to me.
yeah, I do, but at a different level now.
You don't have to prove yourself as much.
I don't have to.
Because you've already done it.
I don't have to pretend to know about medical and HIPAA compliancy laws. I mean, not pretend. I mean, you have to know about that stuff. But like, it's very different when you're also dealing with patients and someone's mental health. You know, it's very serious, right? Like, and I think when after everything that I'd kind of gone through, I just didn't have, you know, I needed the mental space to like just focus on my family. You know? My relationship with Amy, what am I, like, all of a sudden I'm like sober now. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? You know, and like, how do I, so this is, you know, it's like been great.
So he came up with the aesthetic, he had a plan, he had a can, which is trending in the right direction. But why is this, like, what's inside the water that's so good?
And then he wanted to do he wanted to do a spring water, and I was like, dude, let's just do like an RO water. It tastes just it'd be a lot easier because we're gonna have to like find a good source. And Mount Shasta, like there was a company, Castle Rock, that I'd known about, and it's actually Mount Shasta, which is like Erewhon's water now. And
Erewhon water?
Well, same source. I mean, there's like eternal waters from Mount Shasta, Crystal Geyser.
Eternal, that's muscle milk.
Really?
I'm pretty sure the guys, they kind of got the like curvy bottle, right?
Yeah. It's like a teardrop.
Yeah, the Muscle Milk's founder his son was in my fraternity.
Oh, okay.
I remember when they came out like 2009.
Yeah, they're a great company.
Eternal?
Yeah, Eternal's a great company. They're a great company. You know, most of these water brands are, you know, the ones that succeed, you know, I think, and even Essentia, like the story of that founder is like really awesome, you know, and he's been doing that for like 30 years.
That's the pH guy?
Essentia water, it's like the black and red.
Alkaline,
pH. But Alex was just adamant about like the whole outdoor vibe, and so I had spoken to like a Mount Shasta guy a while back, and
the source.
Yeah, and then he had sold this plant, but was still a partner, but met that guy, and he was actually really, really great as well. And so, you know, we decided to like use Mount Shasta as a source, and we just figured out how to like co-pack it here in LA. You know? And so now like our goal is we eventually, you know, we're targeting now. So we basically gotten like product market fit. We raise, you know, a small amount of money to just bring it to life.
What's that? Over $1 million? Less than $1 million?
No, like right around $150,000. Like we just basically like we're doing as much as possible with like as little as possible. Again, just keeping as much.
But is that like? But like, you say Alex is the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Is he? But he's. I mean, it's you raise some of that, but then you're also like taking some from your savings and stuff too.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything we've done with this was out of investor money.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, which is very, you know, I think it's also
that's pretty cheap.
Yeah,
$150,000 to be like getting into stores and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible.
And have that branding look as good as it does.
To have it looking good, and I think, you know, that it's just a testament to like, you know, Alex being as scrappy as he does, right? Like a lot of, if you look at our content, he's a photographer, so
yeah, your website looks good. Connor liked this website.
Yeah.
What's the website?
Fathersdeer.com.
Fathersdeer.com.
Yeah, check it out. And yeah, so he also has like a bunch of videographers that come and help out create content. Like, you know, we probably have like, you know, around $150,000 worth of content that we've gotten done for like maybe $20,000. And you know, he knows a lot of models, influencers. Like, you know, he's got maybe 30, 40 people in his studios every single day.
Yeah.
You know, and like these are like brands and influencers and models and like, you know, so that's been a big benefit for us as well. And then
Was that part of the pitch when he got you?
that was part of the pitch.
Nice.
Yeah.
This guy seems smart.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's great. He's like, you know, at first it worried me, right? Because he was like I said, my original belief was like, you need $50 million to start a beverage company. And then when he started talking to me, I was like, okay, how
To
can I
start or to execute
to
fully?
really execute, right? But even to start, I thought I would have said, you know, at least $2 million, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then with this, I was like, why? Let's give it a shot. Like, how can I be as scrappy as possible?
Yeah.
Right. And you know, like,
These don't look scrappy, bro.
yeah, it's not. It's like he put a lot of.
My shit looked way more scrappy back in the your stage, dude. So how long have you been doing this? Like a year now?
No. This has been we like soft launched like 3 months ago.
Yeah, I was there, right?
Yeah.
That was but you were been working on it before that.
Yeah, we started working on it. Yeah, it's been about a year since we've been working on it. And we're just like, you know.
So soft launched 3 months ago, and so you got a lot of stores, right? You were just selling a bunch of cases, right? You're gonna give me some.
We're like hyper focused LA. Right?
Okay.
Like Vicente Foods is our biggest account. We're in like some Bravo Toast, which is like a really kind of hip restaurant. You know, and then just like grab and go locations around Venice. You know, we're focusing on like so. One, no one knows this is a water, right? It looks like beer. So, you know, unless we have thousands, you know.
So these are some of the problems you figured out?
Yeah, right? Like people, unless, you know, if no one's going to buy this as a water, it's not clear. People buy water because it looks clear and refreshing.
Yeah.
Right? And so we've like scaled back to specifically places where it's merchandised with water.
Yeah.
Right? And so people know what it is.
Are you going to change the cans?
Slightly. We're going to change the logo. We changed the deer. We got a cease and desist from Jägermeister on this.
Is that the Jägermeister?
That's the Jägermeister.
You got a cease and desist? That's awesome, bro.
Exactly. So
Frame that, put that on the wall, dude.
Yeah, so we switched.
I still haven't had a cease and desist, and I'm ready for it. I will take it as honor.
But they're actually really cool. We sent them the new design. They're like, yeah, just don't encroach on our space. We're like, yeah, no problem.
Fuck off, dude.
Yeah, I mean, look,
fucking water, dude. We're fucking Jägermeister.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. You know, it's fun to like get the attention of people.
No, but like we had the same thing with our thing where we're like, oh, this is cool, but no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like, especially when you have more artistic, designy.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Alex, like this looks very beautiful. Like, so you're probably gonna do more water forward up here. I'm guessing like.
We'll highlight natural spring water. We're gonna highlight Mount Shasta.
You probably just switch these two, right?
Yeah, it's just a different deer. It's cool, you know. And also we've got like, so Alex is probably going to be going on a podcast with with this big hunters association nationwide, like a lot of outdoors people.
Yeah. Is he an outdoorsman? I mean, hunters.
He's like a shooter. He's like, you know, he shoots. He does a lot. You know, he's like very active, and so he really wanted. You know, this is like a 12-pack.
Infinitely recyclable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can pick it up and take it camping. You know, and you're going to be outdoors, and you know you can set it up and shoot a BB gun. You know, shoot it with a BB gun. Or who knows what you want to do? But the reality of it is it's like
put tannerite on, explode it, bro.
Exactly.
Fucking blow that shit up, bro.
You could.
Actually, that's something I want. I do want to shoot YoBes with guns.
Yeah,
and I have a slow-mo, dude.
With one of those red cameras.
And then I'm gonna do one with like, you know what tannerite is?
No.
It's basically like C4, but like you can buy it.
It's scary that you know what that is.
I'm from Texas, bro.
It's sounding like a Mr. Beast video or something.
I mean, this is a hawk. It's like
this is like a flag you ever put on YouTube.
I literally have like a whatever. I don't even want to. I bought recently a lamp oil. Like I want to do fireballs out of my mouth. We're not doing that today, but.
Dude, I've actually there's a drum circle in Venice, and
Sunday?
They go off, and Saturdays too. And they go off, and people will go in there and dance, and I'm like, dude, I want to get a headdress in there.
Your headdress?
No, but I would find one, and go in there and just start dancing and just get like blow fire out of my mouth. Like, dude, you get fired up when you're. My daughter loves going to the drum circle.
Your daughter's a drum circle girl?
Yeah, we got her a little drum, and she's
16 months, dude.
Yeah, man, she's fast.
Well, we should get you a hairdresser, and I'll learn how to blow some fire, and we'll bring some Father's Deer and YoBes and just bang it out, bro.
Well, because it's like people that go in there, they're just usually like wasted, you know. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool to like actually come in here and do a really cool dance.
Well, I was like trying to go in. I was gonna film like some stupid like, what was that? We're not doing it anymore, but there was like that like the gnome shit, the gnome at night. Whatever. I was gonna go try to harass them, film it, but anyway.
Those are great though. It's like if you just listen to the sound.
Oh yeah.
You actually can feel very like naturally high after you've ever experienced that.
Totally.
It's tribal, bro. Like, it's cool to be part of the like drum. It's like everyone's jamming out, and then you're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna hit the beat in this way and contribute this way, and then there's people dancing, people being, hey, you know, like it's cool. So, okay, I think we're almost done here. I mean, I guess like, so like, what's the plan for Father's Deer? Like, where are we going with this? What are you trying to do?
We're doing another small raise. We've got.
What is the fundraising? I did want to talk about the fundraising. Like, how is that? Because you tried to do it for Edit, you did it for Penta, and now you're doing it for Father's Deer.
Didn't fundraise for Penta. That was just that Penta was pretty independently.
Well, M&A stuff similar.
Yeah, didn't do it for Penta. But so I would say we're doing another small raise. And we're just like, we're doing it very specific, right?
So what's the goal?
Yeah, I guess on fundraising, I would say this is, one, I think it's, it's really difficult, right? Like, and it's difficult because you literally will have people say yes, 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 and then like they will just, when it comes time to sign a document or wire, they just disappear, right? Like that's pretty common, right? Unless you're going more of like an institutional investor, they're typically going to be pretty upfront right from the get-go. But like at this stage, for when it's
friends
like
and family type thing,
friends and family.
Oh yeah, I got you. Great idea.
And then all of a sudden, like over the pandemic, everyone became an angel investor somehow. Which great, right? Like
pandemic?
It's like or during this whole what is it, AMC, like Mr. Kitty stuff.
GameStop.
GameStop. But what I would say is this is like, I think, trying to raise money on like a really big concept, I think that like whole idea is like died in 2000, like when it died.
Concept?
The
concept
whole
without revenue?
Yeah, we're going to project out, unless you're a tech company, I think for, our generation, during that whole, there was like that whole crazy unicorn valuation, like how do I raise money? Like, I feel like that whole sort of ideology is like dying, and I know it's dying. And now it's like, how do you build a profitable business? How do you prove something? Raise as little money as possible and create value, because people just aren't going into these like crazy raising $3 million from a deck, right? And that was like the idea going into Edit that I had, and
that could happen.
And then when we came back, that was the end, because people were doing it. I know guys that would raise $1 million just sitting over a table, right? Because VCs were just like spray and pray. Right, like they didn't give a shit. It was like, we're just gonna, we know 2 of them are gonna hit, so I need to get 8 more. And so I would say for this now, right, like we've been very specific, right? Like, how does this $150,000 gonna create a $5 million valuation, right? Like, can I do that? Can I? Is the market there?
So that's what you've been doing right now.
It's exactly what I've been doing.
And so now you're trying to be able to raise money to get that $5 million valuation.
Yeah, and so now I know like the money that we're raising next. I know exactly where it's going to go to. I have the calls lined up. I have the distributor lined up. I have the stores lined up. And I have the salespeople lined up, right? And as soon as it comes in, I'm going to turn it on, right? And so, and then I know what this is going to, what the remaining inventory is going to net us back, right? And just keeping it very, very simple, and and then I'll know. Like, everyone tries to grow too fast sometimes. We've gotten offers. We've gotten a lot of offers already. Of, hey, do you want to do this, or do you want to do this, or you should sell here and you should sell here. And sure, it's water, right? Like the reality is at some point someone will drink it if they're thirsty enough, you know? And so, but that's not like what we're going for. Like I want people to love the product, you know? And so, you know, in the same, so it's been very specific with that, right? Like unless you have money lined up or someone kind of comes to you with an idea and they say, hey, here's this, and I've got a big backer, you know, you have to be very specific about like who you take money from too, you know? And so I've seen a lot of people take, you know, money that like, it's like, you know, you got to really look at his debt, right? Like you're essentially, it's like, congratulations, you know, now you don't work for yourself anymore. Yeah. You know, now like
you gotta pay somebody back.
And if you get the wrong person involved, like they're gonna bug the shit out of you. They're gonna like bother you. They're gonna want too much. You know, so I think the whole fundraising landscape is changing a lot. Like, I think for products, it's different, you know.
Well, the recession's coming, like, I mean, like...
And they've been saying that for 2 years,
They've been saying it for 10 years, dude. Like, since 2008. Like, that's like 16 years ago, right?
Yeah,
like,
you know. And so...
16 years ago. We're getting old, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, so
Obama just like got in office and it's like, oh wait, recession.
Yeah, and
like,
I mean,
but then all these unicorns, I get it. Like that's one of the reasons I've been kind of anti fundraising, because the moment you take money, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking to start selling more so that you can raise money to get out of debt for the money that you just raised.
Yeah,
and it's like. And then, like, some companies are just raising money to get the debt off and to fight for another day, rather than, like, I'm a firm believer for my company just to focus on the core and be as scrappy as possible. And, like, if you focus on the core, like, that's the most important thing. Because eventually, like you said, like, I'm going to raise money to turn things on. Yeah. It's like, I want to have everything ready to go. I want to know, like... I don't know. I just believe that, like, I think a lot of companies focus more on raising money than actually the product.
Exactly. Well, that's
sense?
when you're raising money like that becomes your full-time job.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to, and you need someone that's like running the business, and to do both, you know, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Like, you know, you're jumping through hoops constantly. And then you go and you're spending time chasing down investment that should be building your business. And, you know, it becomes like a trap. It also becomes addicting, because it's like you think all of a sudden you're focused on valuation, and it's like, oh my God, we have a $10 million company, you know? And it's like, all right, well, I want to be a $20 million company.
Who can we talk to?
Yeah. And so then you start looking, you know.
I can see myself.
And so then instead of focusing on what's right for the brand, you focus on what's going to make your P&L look better, right? Like, how do we show this on the P&L? But then it's like, all of a sudden you've got, you know, 50 pallets in the Pacific Northwest and no one's touching it, right? And that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And like, you know, and so...
So when is a good time to raise money then?
I think, you know, like, so like right now, like for Father's Year, we could raise a big amount of money. And, you know, like when you establish product market fit, I think that's the time to do it, right? Like if you have the potential to throw fuel on the fire, the only reason why we don't is because right now we would be bottlenecked from a manufacturing standpoint. And so that's the problem I need to fix first. And so, but it's not going to stop me from saturating Los Angeles, right? Yeah. And so I can still grow the company in LA without pouring a bunch of money on it. And then it's going to be even more valuable when I do solve the manufacturing problem, right? And when I do solve that bottleneck. And so some people take on too much money and they give away too much of the company. And then, you know, now you got to make back $3 million somehow, or like the company's got to be worth more than what you invested and then get more money. Like it becomes a trap, you know? So I honestly think when you have enough customers, like, you know, when your first maybe 1,000 customers is like, love it. Like when I get calls from the buyer at Vicente Foods, and he's like, hey man, and he's personally calling me, like that's a good sign, that like that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
And no buyers never called me at Penta. I was fighting every day because we were just another plastic bottle on in a sea of them. And then we weren't alkaline, so then it's like you watch sales go down, and then well do you have electrolytes? And it's like people don't even know what the fuck, most people don't even realize it's just like window dressing.
Yeah.
So
adaptogenic. We're gonna talk about adaptogens.
Yeah, we were going to talk about adaptogens and YoBe.
Or yeah, whatever.
All right. Well,
but that's cool. So you're getting buyers hitting you up. YoBe, I like the vintage grocers, since they're not in my distributor yet, which we're getting new distributors. But like it's like they did every month. She like hits me up. She's like, I want multiple cases of all your flavors, and it's like. It's cool. Yeah, it's amazing, especially when I'm not demoing there, buddy.
Well, how about this? I think the best feeling about a product is when you see someone you don't know drinking it or eating it or consuming it. That's like the coolest feeling in the world,
Yeah, when someone posts. Yeah, it feels good. I get someone posts my product in a cool place.
You just see them interacting with it.
I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know who this person is. I did this girl with 500,000 followers posted on YoBe's, reposted some YoBe shit.
That's so cool.
Don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I'm sending her some free shit, dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's creepy. I'm gonna creep a little bit. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, you got to. I mean,
I'm saying I don't got bear, dude.
It's weird, man. The whole brand, like even just the brand space now, I think it's so saturated. So when you see something that's organic, it really is like that. That's a sign, like you broke through a lot of the noise. When someone just organically posts your product, because so many people just get paid to do this shit.
Yeah. I refuse to pay these assholes. I mean, they're not assholes, but like I've reached out to people to be like, hey, I'll give you product, and they're like even if they're like trying to make me charge them $200, I'm like, nah.
Yeah, no.
Like, you'll be back.
Yeah.
You'll be back. All right, well let's end this up. So like, should we talk about adaptogenics and then call it, or like? Controversial? What do you got? Yeah, let's get you involved.
Creating a product from scratch, and you're trying to, how do you give it like a cultural significance, like you're saying, like create a movement that everyone wants to use it versus paid ads versus just organically having a great product that people are telling like.
So wait, I want to repeat your question because I don't think the mic's got it. So your question is, how do you create a product?
At least
that has an organic lift of people actually wanting to use it without having to pay ads for promotion.
Yeah, and that just speaks for itself and kind of creates like at least locally, like a cultural movement. Seems like that's kind of what you guys are getting onto, and YoBe's starting to get there. So
how do you do something that's really hard to do?
I mean, I think.
So how do you create a product that organically will be like? Would you want to repeat the question? Maybe you understand.
Yeah, how do you create a product that gets?
Cool, you just market it.
Yeah, like how does it get just adopted?
How are you so cool without trying to be cool, bro?
Yeah, I mean, how does like I look at brands that have like done that, and I mean the obvious one is like Nike, right? Read Shoe Dog, and you see that, and I think it's so funny, right? I was just it's talking about, you have all these like celebrities, right, that'll try to get behind brands sometimes, and a lot of them do well and some of them don't, right? And you always like, you think, oh, this guy's behind it, it's got to do well, but it doesn't, but like if you think of the brands that have really taken off, like no one knew who that founder was before they became a founder, right? And really what that founder did was just create a product for themselves. And Alex created Father's Deer. Really, if you meet Alex and you talk to him about it, he created a product for himself, right? Like something that he needed in a moment, and then he's sharing it with his community, and because he's sharing with his community, and there's a story behind it, he was really, really just sort of, he's like such a big, he loved the Liquid Death story, right? And so he kind of thought about it and applied it to himself. and then made something that was really like him. You know? And
it definitely has his spot.
Versus like researching and being like, oh, here's a product in the community, and you know, and same thing for you for like vegan yogurt, right? Like I love the stuff you do on social media where it's like, you know, the making who would eat a vegan yogurt, right? Or you do like the thing about have you ever dated a vegan guy or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, and in culture, like vegan, I would say at least the culture that I'm in tune to, like veganism can seem like a lesser of like the carnivore guy, right?
Oh, you think vegan people are lesser than carnivores?
Not lesser, but from a masculinity standpoint.
Oh, vegans are
asking a girl.
Vegans are masculine, dude.
Have you ever dated?
Dude, he just said vegans are masculine, dude. This podcast is ending real soon.
Well, I mean, look, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger. They created a whole Netflix show of showing, hey, like fruits and vegetables are actually better for you. I forget what that show was.
He was on. He endorses that shit.
Yeah, he endorsed it. And he's like, dude, I was eating all this meat.
Like we're vegan to like our product's vegan, but like I'm not vegan, dude.
But
did you see my Go Both Ways?
No.
You haven't. Oh my god, he's behind in content.
Oh really?
Yeah, you are. Well, can I try to answer that for you, Connor? Are you done?
Yeah. I mean,
I think, like, for instance, I think there's multiple approaches. Like, and firstly, nothing is easy, ever. Nothing is easy. Nothing happens overnight. Very rarely, like, that's, and the stuff that feels like it's overnight, it's not. But, like, for instance, like, Jeff Bezos, he was doing data analytics about the internet growing really fast, like the fastest growing like business industry, and he basically saw that number, which was like scientific. It was like, hey, if I build something in this industry, basically I have a higher chance of being successful. And that's kind of how, like, in my MBA, there's a compound annual growth rate, which is interesting to look at because it's like this industry is growing every year. Basically what that means is, like, if you don't do anything and you're in that industry, you're going to grow this much. Right. But if you do something more remarkable, you can capture more of that market. And so he did that, and he chose books as for various reasons you can look online, and like that's how he built his business and probably organically grew it, right? But like another thing would be, like, I guess this perfect bar people, right? Like they like their dad like was making them health snacks and like giving it to the kids for years, and then eventually they're like, hey, let's do this. And then like they worked on the product. And I'm a firm believer that, like, if you have a great product, that's like, even if the packaging sucks, like my packaging is getting better, but like if the packaging sucks, no one cares. Like GT Kombucha's packaging probably looks like whack when you first saw it. Like like Red Bull is just like yellow or just like silver and blue, like doesn't really communicate, but everyone loved the product. So like I just think you gotta focus on product. I'm a product person first. Yeah. Like
100%. I mean, if you don't make a good product, you know, you at some point it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna work. I mean, I don't know how much Jeff Bezos created a cultural movement, you know, but the Perfect Bar guys, you know, definitely did, you know. And you start like a lot of these like bars, some of them started with like CrossFit people, you know, runners, whatever communities that you tap into.
Or like Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, right? Like, very specific. Like that guy's story is incredible.
I mean, it just took water and just put cans on it, and was kind of like, everyone thinks water is soft and we're not.
Yeah, right? he was watching all these musicians drink, you know, they were drinking Monster water because like they didn't want to drink energy drinks, right? And so the Monster just made them water.
Really?
But, yeah, and so I think that's how it goes. I mean, I kind of tuned in and tuned out, but and yeah, I mean, he understood, and he just hit a very small segment of people.
But like in all these situations, it's like you find a space and a need,
right? And
then you see that there's a problem, and you try to create a solution for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so. You know, and there's cultural brands, there's all different types of brands, right? Like you could be an emotional brand, you could be, you know, a political brand, like, you know, like Dove touches on emotional attributes of people, where Marlboro's like masculine people, right? Like the Marlboro Man.
You're a Marlboro Man, dude.
And yeah.
Born in Kotex.
I don't know. I feel like YoBe's going more the Marlboro, the tough vegan.
Tough vegan, baby. We ain't soft vegans here. Well, I mean, I think if any of us had that question, like the answer to that question, we'd be billionaires. Like I think it's one of those things that you can't know, like how to create a cultural movement with a product. I think it's just the only like if I like Be Awesome podcast to finish this, like the only way to do it is to start doing it and start doing things, getting feedback from customers and listen to the customers and just like following that trail. And this has been my like mantra this week. It's like Thomas Edison created the light bulb, but it took 10,000 tries. And they were all failures, but like you learn from your failures and you just keep pivoting and moving towards like what you need to do. Like Gatorade probably wasn't the formula it is today. Like all like Liquid Death, like all these things, like you have to make mistakes to get to the ultimate version.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Go make mistakes, baby.
It's gonna make some more mistakes.
Love you, bro.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for coming through.
Yeah.
All right, let's cut it.
Dude, I gotta go to the bathroom.